Hey, Danielle, we're live.
Hello, Ruth. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you?
Hello, fellow agents.
Yes, we just got off our regular Facebook Live. This is the week we talk about what we learned. This morning I learned what it's like not to have an MLS.
I fortunately do not have that same problem. Still don't know why you didn't, and I did.
Yeah, there were a
Or
couple
some
of
people did,
people,
and some people didn't, because it
right?
wasn't
A
just
couple
you.
people were
It
saying that
wasn't just
they were okay, but our MLS was
wonky at the
pretty
very
much
least.
down. And then when I called, the phone recording said our phone system is having technical difficulties. So it was like their entire technology, which scared the crap out of me because there have been so many hacks, including to
Yes,
MLSs.
yes, that's what I was just thinking.
And I was wondering, gosh, am I going to have to, use Zillow or something to figure out how do I find the
Well,
listing agent?
if they're pulling from ours too, wouldn't they? Anyway, doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I don't know. Right.
All right.
So
So,
that was fun.
in addition to Ruth's learning, unintentional learning today, we also had two topics that we kind of talked about today, having learned, and they're kind of topics we've touched before, of course, because it's good to reiterate. But we were talking about kind of the dangers or you know making people aware of the accidental hiring of others, the clicking on links, the thinking you're not going to bother somebody, and this is really going to be more and more relevant for us to teach our clients to contact us, because once we, I'm across the board, I'm hearing everybody talking about starting to utilize, if they hadn't for years already, buyers brokers agreements. And that's going to get really bad for buyers if they are under a buyer's broker agreement, hopefully with you, and then call somebody else and either sign a second one or sign one before you're able to get them to sign one, or a
Yeah.
myriad of other problems.
And we're seeing a lot of people who obviously don't have those conversations with their buyers. We have a buyer conversation that starts very early. We really try to do it before we ever show them a house. Um, and if we do have to show them a house first, then we schedule it as quickly as possible afterward, because they just don't know. So, they walk into a new builder and say, sure, I want to see the house. So I'll sign in your little thing where I'm signing my rights away. Um, they will, be on um, the big Z late at night and click tell me more. And next thing they know, this very nice lady is offering to show them the house that they want to see. And they think that they can just come back to you when they've done their research, is what I see buyers calling it. So they want to, get it all figured out before they bother you, and they don't know. So we have to constantly tell them. Also, I'm seeing a big uptick in conversations among realtors about lead generation companies and purchasing leads. Danielle and I chose not to run our business that way a long time ago, for a variety of reasons. And if you do it, that's fine. We're not saying that there's anything wrong with it for you. Um, but I think a lot of the ways they work are kind of hiding from buyers what they're doing. So it's all
And I lost Ruth, so I'm going to take over in case
that you
she's also
can
lost too.
then kind of pull them in your web. Yeah.
I
And
was
we
going
think
to
we
say,
think people should be honest.
I was going to say, and both sides, if you are one that does lead generation, you have to, again, people sign things without realizing what they're doing. Before you go and bother, make sure that that person isn't currently working with somebody, that their person didn't go out of town and they called the next person because they're either impatient or doesn't have to understand how it goes or whatever, that you are now wasting your time, not wasting, but barking up the wrong tree, using, your resources, your time, your energies with somebody who's already represented.
Yeah, and I will say, there's a couple of those companies that sell those leads that don't want people to ask that question. They don't want the question, "Are you working with an agent?" asked. I think that's a terrible way to run things. That certainly doesn't help the public. And I think we always have to look at what their best interests are. And then, you've got agents crying on lab coats that they showed somebody 40 houses and then they said, I'm going to have my agent write the offer. Well, we've got to be upfront with how these lead generation processes work and what that means to the lead. Even outside of our industry, I was watching TV the other night and a Hyundai commercial came on, and there's a person in our family that would be nice if he had a car. And it said something like $289 a month or something. And I was like, for $289 a month, I would buy that car. Except I know it's not $289 a month. I've done that before. I've gone in with their bait and switch commercials. And so I don't trust any car dealers because of the really crappy experiences I've had with things like that. I think it's important that we don't become that we don't trick people into getting into contract with us unknowingly.
Correct. And then the other topic that we talked about was the idea that, if you guys are paying attention, right, at least where we're at, market is still very strong as far as for a seller's market. The demand is high. And a lot of sellers kind of rightfully are questioning some of the things that they have to do for the house. A lot of people are struggling. They have equity within their house, but that's not cash on hand. And so we need to we've got to understand that there's a balance there. Sometimes it means that the sellers still have to do a little bit of work to get the buyers wanting to purchase their home. But at the same time, buyers might have to, if they really truly want to move, have to compromise a little bit.
Buyers are finding out that they need to spend, $50,000 or $75,000 more than they wanted to, right? In order to get something. And so they're looking at it like, again, if I'm buying a car for $289, I have an expectation of what that car would be, right? If it's going to cost me $500 a month, then it better have heat up seats, right? And it better have some of the things that are more of a luxury. Now, the reality is maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's not what the market is right now. Maybe for $500 a month, I get, 4 wheels and roll down windows. But expectations between buyers and sellers rarely match, even sometimes when it's the same person. Their expectation on the sell side and the buy side are different. And I think that's where we always come in. It's kind of like translating, right? We need to help them understand, okay, as buyer, I know your expectation is this for this price point, but this is what actually exists. And so you might have to do a few things when you move in. As a seller, in order for the most buyers to want your house and for you to get that number that you've got stuck in your head, this is what's going to be necessary.
Yes, we try to tell, but yes, there's only one buyer for every house. But to present your home, your probably biggest asset you have, singular asset you have, in the best light, you want to have numerous options. You want to have numerous people looking at it. You don't want to hope that one or two people who looked at it after it's been marketed and go, I guess, or because if something small comes up, like you can easily lose these buyers too,
right?
An inspection. So while you definitely have,
just because there's no houses doesn't mean the buyers are buying them.
Correct.
I think, realtors know that, but I think sometimes we don't set that expectation with our sellers. And of course, there's programs that you can use to borrow the money to do these things. There's different ways that we can solve these issues, but we have to find what works for our sellers, and it really always comes down to setting proper expectations.
Yep. All right. So until next week, where our topic is, what's next week? That's not how it works. What's new? How's the market?
It's the first Friday of the month. So we'll have our market reports, but I think we do those on the second Friday.
Second Friday too.
So we'll figure it out.
I think it might be KCM. I think it's kind of what's new in real estate. So.
All right. Well, it'll be exciting anyway.
Yeah.
Well worth listening to. All right. So we will see you next week.
See you then. Bye.